Welcome to episode 28 of Trashchan. I'm your host, Dale. Join with me, as always, my co-host, Gabe. And this isn't like a hierarchical thing. Gabe, you can always introduce yourself as the host, and then like I am your co-host. You can do that. I don't mind. But I feel
Does that
like...
make us co-hosts?
Yes, but like co-hosts sounds weird. But I also think that like when you, like, I don't know, calling yourself the host and then like saying like joined by the other host also sounds weird. So I just want to lay that on the ground. I just want to lay that down right now.
So just because you have a beard doesn't mean you're better than me, right?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Just, I wanted to get that. That's the the part I needed to get out of the way.
No.
Right.
Never.
Well, Dale, are you excited for what we're going to be talking about today?
Maybe. This has been a long time coming. I knew I wasn't going to be able to avoid this show. Not saying that I don't like it. I do like it. I like it a lot. Evangelion, of course, is the show we're talking about. The official, like, it's legally, you're able to legally watch it now here in the U.S. On Netflix. Finally. There's a little issues, a little controversy over the Netflix sub and dub.
God damn it! Yeah, that's bullshit.
There's some shit going on there. Summer anime has begun, and then spring anime has ended. I didn't watch a single.
Let's be honest. We don't need to mention spring anime ending because there was like nothing worth watching in spring.
I don't know, man. I'm going to tentatively watch Demon Slayer. I think maybe.
Okay, you got me on that one.
It looks good. It looks really good. I don't know if I care enough to watch One Punch Man Season 2, and I definitely don't care enough to watch Isekai Quartet. I'm going to wait a little bit for the Netflix release of Carol and Tuesday. Other than that, I don't see any show that I actually felt like watching in spring. And then I'm looking at summer, and it's looking pretty bare, too. I really only want to watch Dr. Stone and the firefighting guys, Fire Force.
I mean, there's Fire Force, there's the continuation of Demon Slayer, there's How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon.
Don't care.
Is it okay to pick up girls in a dungeon too? Really?
Don't care.
Sad.
Even remotely. I don't care
really?
about it. I've given up on Isekai. I've given up on anime as a whole.
That's so sad. What about Vinland Saga?
Nope.
All right.
I watched Evangelion and all of anime is ruined for me.
See, you said that when you watched Fully Cooley.
That too.
And then when you watched... Yeah. And I can't remember the name of the other anime right now, so I'm going to skip that part.
Gurren Lagann? Lagann? Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, nothing stacks up.
Rurige?
What? Toppen Gurren Lagann. I think that's
the actual full Japanese name.
There is a full... I don't... That's not how you say it. At all. I don't know if anybody's surprised by me not being able to say it, but I digress. Yeah, dog. I'm excited about Dr. Stone. It seems like a genuinely interesting, very different anime, and then Fire Force just visually looks interesting, and I was kind of on the same deal with Spring, where like Demon Slayer just looks visually interesting, but then there's nothing else that I care. There's nothing. I don't need the Fox lollybait in my life. Don't care about that. Don't really care about Stray Dogs third season because I haven't watched anything else.
I feel like I should definitely go back and watch that from the beginning.
Yeah, and then like, I'm sorry, Carol and Tuesday was like the thing that looks genuinely interesting, genuinely kind of like looks like a different show. It's not like it's just
beautiful.
Not like yeah, exactly. You
that
know, it's
shit looks so gorgeous.
It's not like just an idle anime, like maybe previous shows in previous seasons have been. But it was really hard to get access to the episodes anywhere here in the US, so I just kind of slept on it because I think I remember early on it got picked up by Netflix and everybody knew that, and now we know for sure it's coming out in August-ish. I believe that's what that screen cap was that you sent me a few days ago, right?
I believe so. I believe so. It's coming out in August in just a few months. I actually don't remember hearing that it got picked up by Netflix.
I feel like I wasn't surprised. Maybe I just assumed because it wasn't on any other streaming service at all. Or was it?
Yeah, so no. As far as I know, it wasn't on it wasn't on VRV, Crunchyroll. It wasn't on Funimation as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the only way to actually get it would be was to be outside of the U.S.
Right.
Which always sucks because the best stuff is outside of the U.S.
Yeah, maybe that's how I saw it, because I thought I saw it on a streaming service, but I was using my VPN to spoof being in a different country to watch like one single episode of One Punch Man. And then I stopped. I will like, again, One Punch Man, it'll be on Netflix. I'll probably watch it then. My anime consumption is gonna be so lazy.
Isn't it on Hulu right now?
Probably, but
because I know I've been watching Gundam and Dragon Ball Z on there, or at least I've been meaning to start Dragon Ball Z.
Oh God, you got my hopes up.
Sorry, I've been meaning to watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh,
on,
it
is on
okay.
Hulu. But I'll probably
shout out to Hulu for having everything now.
I'll probably be canceling that subscription too. And also, I don't want to pay for something that I'm getting advertised on. So
yeah, I think paying for the non-advertisement thing on Hulu is just such a fucking ripoff.
It is. Yeah, it's a bit of a ripoff, especially when there's just better systems.
But I will say,
yeah, what's up?
Hulu at no point in time will take an anime and they will never slap on a Hulu original on there.
And Netflix
speaking of that,
do it.
I have to apologize to you, Dale, because I said that Netflix had the cojones to put a Netflix original on Evangelion.
Nah, it's all good.
They did not.
Nope.
And thank God they didn't.
I know we were, because like when we were originally talking about it, we were like, it's a big joke, LOL. And then the release date crept closer and closer and closer, and then we begin to think to ourselves, oh no, maybe it will happen. It didn't though, although they did do their own original dub and sub, and there were some glaring issues. I actually have some in my notes. One of them, let me see here, let me pull up my notes. I believe I had a very specific
Real quick,
version.
Did you watch it all in sub or in dub or both?
I watched about four different versions of Evangelion.
Okay.
We'll get into my journey through this show in a little bit, but just as a set piece, I guess, I had a very difficult time watching this show. I'm not exactly sure why. A lot of it was because I watched the 3 movies that came out, which is like You Are Not Alone, You Cannot Redo, You Cannot these aren't in order and I can't remember the other one. I got right here. You Are Not Alone, You Cannot Advance, and You Cannot Redo. So I watched those 3 first, and I thought those were Evangelion. So I watched those, and they are entirely different from the show. Totally different character. Well, I shouldn't say totally different. Characters go in different directions, and the ending's a little different. The 4th of this series is coming out pretty soon. In fact, actually, Gabe, if you want to drop a fat hundo, you can go and watch the first 10 minutes of the anime pretty soon over in San Francisco.
Oh God, no!
You could drop a fat hundo.
That's so much money. Wait,
fat
for 10
hundo.
minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Let me see if I can. I want to find the exact article.
Can't I just? What? No. Fucking San Francisco's too expensive, man.
Well, it's overwhere. It's overwhere. It's everywhere. It's not just San Francisco. There's a lot of places.
Okay. It's not just San Francisco.
Yeah, no. There are a lot of theaters. I'm just saying, like, San Francisco is the closest one to us.
Because I've been to San Francisco before when they hosted the League of Legends World Championships in Korea, and a few select theaters. I think it was like New York, LA, San Francisco, and Houston all like streamed it in theaters.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Let me see here. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to find it. Trying to find where I saw that. Oh well, I probably won't find it. Anyways, I don't really care that much. There was a trailer that like dropped the release date for it, which is kind of sometime down the road that I don't care. And yeah, so the movies are what's called the rebuild of Evangelion, and it's a lot more not streamlined necessarily. Have you watched the YouTube video from Super Eye Patch Wolf in defense of the elevator scene from Evangelion?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool. I would say it's required
I think
viewing.
We've talked about that.
We definitely have. So the show itself, I'm sure if anybody who's watched it before knows that towards the end of production, there were a lot of major setbacks. One of which being Hideki Anno's just mental health in general. The show was written episodically, so he started writing the next episode of the series when the previous episode just got done airing. So that's insane. That blows my mind that it was written like that. Granted, Evangelion itself was originally just supposed to be a robot fighting anime. Granted, even in the first few episodes, it was baked into its DNA to really like subvert tropes of the genre. One of the biggest ones, of course, is like Shinji refusing to get into the pilot, to pilot the Eva. It's a big meme. Getting the fucking robot Shinji, right? It's a big meme. If this wasn't the first time you had seen it before, that was really cool and really intense and definitely different. The issue is that like me and Gabe, I believe Gabe, this is the first time you've ever watched Evangelion, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, it is.
Totally fine.
And I hate that.
No, it's totally understandable.
Because unlike you, I never saw the movies.
Right.
But I have spent so much time online watching YouTube videos, people react, people talking about, where Evangelion gets this from, where it gets that from, what other shows are taking from Evangelion, so on and so forth. So I felt like I had such a deep understanding until I finally watched the show and I realized that my understanding was
you just don't get it.
Pretty wrong.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. This show came out in October 1995, actually like nearly around my birthday, except I was born a year too late. So not
I was
at
born
all.
before Evangelion. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm obviously I'm not watching this show at the time that other massive fans have watched it. I feel it aired here in the US, I think somehow. I don't even know, honestly. I know it we got the rights.
Toonami get them?
Maybe.
Or like Adult Swim get it?
Dude, I have no idea. I literally I can't even find it. Cartoon Network, Toonami. Yep, you're correct. Adult Swim.
Hey,
so
let's go.
Yeah, I guess we probably should have just guessed that, right? So, and for a while, that was the only time that was the only way you were actually going to be watching this show. It was also on Animax and stuff like that. So the US, it was Anime Network, KTEH, Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim. Animax is a Australian thing. Don't mind that one. So I have heard from other podcasters, I don't know if you've listened to this episode yet, but recently Castle Super Beast was talking about their reactions to the show. And apparently,
I missed that episode.
Apparently, Evangelion replaced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the cycle of cartoons on the weekend, which blows me the fuck away.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I guess like in Toonami or maybe like Anime Network or KTH. Although, let me see here. I'm not really sure. It's not saying because they're Canadian. So it's like crazy to me that that's what that show replaced. And for the first 18 or so episodes, that makes total sense to me. Total sense that, yeah, it's the robots, the cool robots beating up the crazy space aliens. And then you get to like episode 19, 20, 21, and 22 when Evangelion takes the turn that most people know it's for, which is this deep dive into existentialism, depression, and the human condition.
Wait, I have notes that differ from this.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Whenever, yeah. I'm just generalizing.
No. I was just going to say, because you said, and I want to make sure that you're saying that correctly, you said that people originally know that Evangelion takes its shift towards like 18, 19, and so on.
That's just what I said.
Okay. Just because I remember I literally only have like a small page of notes, but literally from episode 1 to 13.
Yeah. I'll take that.
My only note is it feels very PG robot-esque, right? It's introductory. Yeah. It's setting you into the world. And 14 literally starts off with Rei having an existential crisis of who am I?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll accept that.
So to me, it became a series of just two halves. The first 13 versus the second 13. And I will be honest, was not expecting the first 13.
Really?
No, I expected the entire 26 episodes to be that second half.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
I
kind of
never
funny.
expected the sudden shift.
That's pretty interesting that you actually have like you have a flip perspective, right? When I was getting into Evangelion, originally through the films, I kind of knew about it holistically, and I think with the films, you're definitely getting a different pacing about like this change, while in the original anime, and even then, I believe what Netflix gives you is technically a director's cut. It's not like the original broadcast, which is whatever. I think like. Yeah, that's very interesting that you have the other one where you're kind of sitting through the first 13 episodes and you're like, what are these robots doing fighting things?
I mean, I don't actually think it's that surprising based on like what people saw originally back in like 1995 when we were being born.
Yeah.
I was like a year old at that time. Like people saw that progression and things going one by one, and naturally as you start to fall deeper and deeper into that existential crisis, as you have to deal with more and more responsibilities. So I actually see where that kind of like takes place. But then you have to remember, I spent the last like 10 years of my life only hearing about the existentialism that is Evangelion from secondhand accounts. So at no point in time do they ever mention the introductory, very PG side where there's no like sexualization of characters. It's like, not completely true. But where it's just much more TV
no,
friendly.
I totally get you.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say 18, I feel like, is the shift for me. I'm trying to remember what that fucking character's name is. Do you remember? Was it Toji? No, it's not Toji. Oh God, what is the
you mean
friend's
the
name?
I love you, I like you?
No. That's way later. No? That's like episode 22.
That is later.
Episode 18 is when the fourth child is found, and it's and it's his friend, but I cannot remember his name, and I cannot find it anywhere right now.
No. Oh, fuck.
I don't remember.
No.
I don't remember.
I'm going to find this. I'm going to find it. I have to find the character.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
It's fine.
I have to. Because, no, that episode messed me up. That episode.
Yeah.
That episode messed me up.
It's fucked up. Okay, it is Toji. I was correct. Hell yeah, dog.
It is Toji.
I'm
yeah,
smart.
Yeah.
So Toji. Toji. So you remember how, like, this kind of ties back to one of the things that I find important is character death in a show. And some people may disagree with this, and that's absolutely fine. I really don't have like a very good thesis as to why I think this, but to me, Toji is like one of the mentors to our main character Shinji. I think like through Toji, Shinji gets to kind of see like the consequences of his actions, but also I feel it's also one of the first people that actually forgives him for his actions, in my opinion. You have like Akari, his dad, who's a dick. You have Masato, who basically for those first few episodes never necessarily forgives him, but just kind of accepts him. But I feel like Toji, who and this is like, this is what like really, this was the first sign for me that the dub probably wasn't as good as it should be. You remember the scene where Toji punches Shinji, and then a little bit later, Toji says, "Listen, dog, I was wrong. You were just trying your best. I see that now. You go through a lot. I would like you to punch me." And then Shinji goes, "I don't want to do it." And then the other friend, the nerd, goes, "Dude, just do it. He's going to beg you for the rest of eternity." And then like Shinji goes to punch him, and then right before he yells out, "Wait!" or "Stop!" or whatever it is, but the character is not yelling. And in every other take from like the sub, the original Japanese voice acting, and the original dubbing, like it is not that take of him shouting "Wait" or "Stop." And then he says, "Don't hold back." So anyways, that's my big thing. Why I think 18 is where the big turn is because Toji dies, which is, in my opinion, one of the first characters to actually forgive Shinji for his shortcomings, while really the rest of the characters either don't care, aren't effective, or constantly call him an idiot, like Asuka and Gendo Akari. So yeah.
It's interesting that you called him a mentor to Shinji.
Yeah.
And I'm interested as to what you define a mentor to be.
I am merely okay. You're familiar. I talk about the hero with 1,000 faces all the time. So the mentor, it doesn't necessarily need to be Obi-Wan Kenobi to his Luke Skywalker, right? I just merely thinking about like the mechanics of it. I actually find, to me personally, the death of the mentor is way more important than what the mentor is actually doing, like in the story itself. We don't see Toji a lot, which is like kind of a major reason why, but like I really feel like it's both of them. It's Toji and whoever the fuck the other kid is, who I literally could not care less what his name is. Ada. Thank you. I think it's Ida. So Toji and...
Because it's spelled Aida, and I'm forgetting how to pronounce that right now.
I'm not sure. So because like those two characters, like obviously Masato is actually the mentor to Shinji, but a lot of different characters can mentor Shinji in different ways. Masato is the obvious correct answer if I were to hand you a multiple choice test and it was like, who mentors Shinji the most? Is it Masato? Is it Asuka? Is it Toji? Is it I don't know, Kaji, right? Like if it's the correct multiple choice answer is Masato. But if it was an essay question and you put Toji and you provided a relevant argument to it, I would definitely count that as towards a full grade. So like I said, like, because Masato doesn't necessarily die, especially in the main series. She does die in spoilers. Sorry. I want to put a big spoiler thing at the very beginning of this episode. So, she does die in the end of Evangelion, which again, like I do find that to be a very important death too, to Shinji's overall development. So, but in the main series, I just feel that in episode 18, that's where the main turn takes of Shinji, because Shinji has grown. He goes from not wanting to pilot the Eva because it's kind of just a nuisance and he doesn't believe in himself. And then throughout this, he's actually has gained a lot more confidence. If you just look at like the episode thumbnails in on Netflix, you go to the episodes, and like I would say like the most confident he is episode 16, where like he's like, fuck this, I'm a baller, I'm the greatest fucking Eva pilot in the world, let's do this. Accidentally gets swallowed up into a pocket dimension and has an existential crisis as his molecules dissolve into the weird goo around him. So by the time we get to episode 18, which is just short, very shortly afterwards, we only have one episode of Shinji coming back, if I remember correctly, and then we have,
I believe so.
Yes, and then he's fairly confident. He's back in action. And then he sees his best friend die, which, again, like that. And that's what traumatizes him. And I would say that, like, that action there kind of proceeds to a lot of the fucked up shit that happens throughout the series.
So you do remember that Toji?
Yeah.
Toji survives.
That's right. He does survive. Holy crap. But we never see him again.
He loses his leg.
Yeah, but we never see him again, do we? Or did I totally fuck?
No, we see him a little bit after. We see.
No,
him,
I guess that's fair. But do we see him in like Shinji's like? That's totally correct. Yeah, I just don't remember him playing a part.
No, because at that point, after that, he learns that he survived, but Shinji is just wallowing in that self-hate and loathing, and that's when he tries to leave again, saying, I think for the second or third time, that he's never going to pilot an Eva again.
Yeah, holy crap, dude! You are so correct. I totally misremembered that. Oh God.
Yeah. No, but what's amazing about that is because I agree with you in the sense that I think character death is super, super important in a story. Good stories will always have a character or a mentor, someone close to that main character die as a propellant for them, right? In Naruto, you had the pervy sage, right? Dude,
that guy was great. I miss him so much.
But so you do have character deaths that help propel the story. In this case, character deaths didn't come until after, like, towards the movies, but the thought of killing someone with your own hands based on this thing that you thought was right, knowing that you fucked up, you lost control, you couldn't do it, you sent this person's sister to the hospital.
Yeah.
He is him and his friend somehow turn that around, that you nearly ruined his life, forgive you, care about you, and encourage you to do what you do. They praise him and enjoy what he does, basically for who he is, without any of those borders put up for Shinji. And then after all of that, you make another mistake, and that mistake nearly costs him his life, the very person who trusted you.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a fucked up, like, circle to go back into mentally, and for someone who is 14, no less. Like, I get a little worked up just thinking about that specific, like, little storyline in itself.
Oh yeah, no,
because that one is so, oh god,
absolutely, dude. It is fucked up. Overall, I think, like, yeah, I totally forgot that he totally did come back. But then, like I was saying, he comes back and he ultimately forgives Shinji again, doesn't he?
As far as I'm aware, yeah,
like,
because
basically,
he lost his leg.
Yeah, he lost his leg.
He's alive, but
they just don't
he
hang
did
out.
get his sister. No, he lost his leg. I don't know whether or not he actually, like, finally started seeing the class president, even though she kept coming to visit him.
Yeah.
But because he was chosen as the fourth children,
oh
he was able to
god,
get
don't say that.
Yes, fourth children.
No, it doesn't grammatically.
Direct translation. Congratulations.
It doesn't. Congratulations. It doesn't.
As
make
he was,
sense.
since he,
It's not grammatically
since
correct.
he was stop. Since he was chosen as the fourth children, and I'm gonna say that to piss you off. He was able to get his sister transferred over to Nerve to get the care that she needed, so she survived. So at the end of the day, it worked out in a positive for him, because at least the sister, the only thing he had left, survived, and he was alive. So I think at that point he just counted his blessings.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know about the forgiveness. That part I don't remember. It's hard to forgive someone twice for nearly killing your family and then nearly killing you.
Yeah. No, I agree. Totally. No, I totally, like, missed that crucial thing about him not dying. But, like, like, technically it is nearly a character. Wow, man, I totally thought he was dead. It is, like, it's like one of the technical character deaths that I don't like, where he's just written out of the story and is kind of done. So that's fine.
But the impact that near death had was just as important as an actual death.
Yeah. So,
because even though he survived, the lesson was hit. Like that point of, if I keep doing this, I'm only doing this because others praise me. I don't actually like doing this. I hate myself. I'm gonna keep making mistakes. And this is just proof that I'm going to continue to fail, and I'm going to continue to hurt people, even if it does cost me praise. I need to walk away from this because, all these other things. Because I'm not worth it, because I'm not this, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, that, the fact that you can have such a hard-hitting point without actually killing off a character, I think is really nice. Is really smart, because you essentially do kill off the character, or the essence of what that character means in that person's life, without having to actually kill and ruin that character's life. Because there's no way that you can go back to having the same kind of relationship you did before after nearly killing them.
Yeah, no, that's a good take. I like that take. I like it. I think we've kind of divulged this subject.
We probably beat this point to the ground.
A little bit, but that's okay. What are some other notes?
But yeah, Toji was interesting.
Toji's dope. I like yeah. Okay, all right. I'm just going to say
Ada was
I'm
just going to
say it. Children is not correct. And this could lead into that sub versus dub conversation that we were having, but it's not grammatically correct, and this is, like, where I draw the line on, like, subs versus dubs, because I ultimately these things when you're translating it, you're ultimately doing something that's transformative to the medium, and obviously this has its own pros and cons, but one of the pros of translating something from a different language that is not romantic in any way, shape, or form, like English to Japanese, is one of the most insane jumps ever. You get to do things like say the first child, not the first children. I'm sorry.
I agree. It should have been.
It's like
child.
it was,
but the children thing was just so funny because it's such a literal direct
just
translation.
why?
Instead of saying kid or child,
it is
the
like
proper term would be a direct translation of children.
That is so weird,
and it's so fucked.
I hate it so much. Most of it was okay, except for
I actually really enjoyed it. Besides the fact that it's children,
except
even
for
the part where he like yells
thing.
"wait" even though the character's
but then
not
there's
yelling.
one thing, Gabe.
Oh no!
And when I first originally watched it, when I first heard about it, I was like, I get it. Like it's kind of dumb and like it's a little bit of like queer erasure in a way. But then I actually got to the scene and I specifically watched it on Netflix, and then I went and watched it in the film. I like just found it where in the film they said it, and then I found it in the original subbing where they said it. And Karu needs to love Shinji. He doesn't get to, like Shinji's company in a totally heterosexual, platonic way. And he also just doesn't get to, he doesn't say you're worthy of my grace in a totally heterosexual, platonic way in the bathtub together. These are things that you don't get to do.
I thought I was going to be upset with that, and I really didn't.
I think
that didn't faze me.
I think
in the
this
slightest.
is because the first time you ever watched it, when I was watching the original,
no, this is it. It annoyed me because I know that there are multiple iterations of the original sub. All right,
sure.
There's the original. God, VHS has more than one subbing to it, I believe it was.
Something like that.
There's like
it's
the regular,
so
there's the
weird.
platinum, there's whatever. There's different little versions that they actually sent out, that they made way back when.
Yeah.
But I was upset with it in the beginning. I was like, why would they change something that's clearly so different? Until I heard a defense from people that are actually Japanese on Twitter. Basically stating that it's actually even more Japanese and more authentic to the character to say like than to say love, because saying love is something that's very direct, and it's not something that people really do. Even if he himself is, an angel, he's super confident, blah blah blah, like he knows what his purpose is. He has no problems like showing his affection and his emotion towards others.
Yeah.
But to directly come out and say like I love you, and let's just, I'm gonna bring you back to my bedroom or something. Like, no, like that would never happen.
That's like what he did, though. Like, literally, like the rest of the scene is just as gay as like the original, like subbing and dubbing and writing of the various different forms that this anime has came in, because it has. It is this anime is there's a trillion different versions of it out there, and the thing is, though, is that like I always have the argument that like when the art is produced, it is no longer owned by the artists, it's owned by the people that have consumed it and the fans, right? So Hideki Anno, to me at least, no longer owns what Evangelion means to people, and to a lot of people, when Karu said I love you, that was literally the first time in their lives that they had probably ever had a gay character, or even just queerness in general in their medium. That was the first time when I originally watched it. We can get into the dumb meme conversation of Asuka versus Rei, when obviously neither are the correct answer.
There is a correct answer.
Obviously it's Masato or Pen. Either. All right. Anyways,
I've met plenty of Masatos in my time.
That's
I would go for Rei.
That's wrong, but we're gonna get into that discussion later. So, I just think like when I first watch Evangelion, right, I had it in my mind. I was a little older, I was in high school, so I already knew the trope of like, oh, the main character and the two different girls that represent two different sides of life and personalities, where Rei is quiet and apathetic basically, while Asuka like actually shows Shinji a form of emotion, but it is negative almost entirely, except for like a select few scenes of them like becoming, in tune with each other during the angel fight, or like when they kissed, or you watched End of Evangelion, right?
Please don't bring up the first.
I'm just saying.
I've seen
the line,
the
correct line is "I'm so fucked up." I don't give a fuck what fucking Netflix thinks. The line is "I'm so fucked up." Anyways, continuing forward, right? When I was watching,
what did he say?
I don't
he said,
care.
I'm the worst kind of
something
person?
like that. Yeah. It's
or
something
the lowest
weird.
kind of
I think
person?
it's the lowest kind of person.
That.
But like the line is "I'm so fucked up." Although I think that line is actually a fan sub. I don't remember properly, but in my mind at least, the line is "I'm so fucked up." That scene, by the way, not in the movies. I don't remember. At least I don't think it is. So. Where was I going with this? Right. So when I first watched it, I remember relating to Shinji of like, oh, you have these two people in your life that you want to love, because Shinji has issues with abandonment, and there's these two people in his life that he wants to love, but they're both kind of awful in their own different ways. Or at least not awful. Awful's a little too strong of a word, but they both have their own issues, which kind of make them incompatible in their own ways. And then Karu shows up, and in the movie series, I think Karu is strictly better in the movie series. You actually have a lot of time with him. The original plan that Hideki Anno wanted, where they actually meet like on the moon, or at least Karu is on the moon. Don't worry about that. Did you ever end up watching the movies at all? I told you to watch them, but I don't think
I was only
totally
able to
fine.
get through one of them.
Totally fine.
And I ended up rewatching that whole movie like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a lot different.
It's a trip. It's
cool though. So hold on, wait. Did you watch?
So
you watched the series Neon Genesis Evangelion on Netflix, and then you watched the end of Evangelion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I would call that Evangelion proper, or at least Evangelion the original series. So, anyways, where I was going with this, Karu was when Karu said "I love you" to Shinji, I remember thinking, I was like, oh, well, now I'm not relating to Shinji at all because I am straight. But then I kind of kept watching it, and I just remember thinking like, oh, like even though Karu has these issues, like Karu has his own issues, i.e. being an angel that's going to end the world. I remember just kind of thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, but like obviously like Karu is the correct answer because he's the only one that actually likes Shinji, and Shinji likes him back. So when it turns into this like, nah, totally straight, totally platonic, two heterosexual males holding hands naked in the bathtub. That's not a like
Were
situation.
They holding hands?
Yes, they held hands. There's a whole scene.
I don't remember that.
There's like a whole scene dedicated.
I literally don't remember that. I just remember them being in the bathtub.
Whole thing. And then Shinji's like, hey man, listen, I gotta go to bed. And then Karu leans in real close and says, oh, shall we go to bed together as totally platonic and heterosexual males? Shall we rest in the same room together under blankets? Yeah, no, he doesn't like Shinji. He doesn't. And I personally, even though the show is Japanese, I don't care what the Japanese say. I don't care about the Japanese conservative opinions on showing emotion. Karu loves Shinji, and I think it's very important to us Americans when we watch this show that Karu loves Shinji.
That can get into a whole debate.
It's a whole debate.
How often
that is a whole
as
debate.
to how often a culture uses the word love.
Yes.
And what they define as love.
Yes. I completely understand.
I'm someone who, if someone comes straight out and says that I love you,
mm-hmm.
to me that person doesn't love me. That person loves saying the word love, and they have no original way of expressing what they're feeling. So they use the word love as an all-encompassing term.
Absolutely.
I actually prefer saying the word like. If I like someone, I don't, quote unquote, let's go back to high school or middle school when you quote unquote like someone,
Mm-hmm.
There is the word love to me is only used in intense moments of emotion towards a single direct person. And that person
that's exactly what I would say was the scene in Evangelion.
No, but
it
wasn't. There wasn't, again, because we didn't get to experience that build-up. We didn't get to see them meet and then grow over time, and then that love hit, right? Mm-hmm. It was like they met, and he was like, oh, by the way, let's go bathe together. By the way, I love you. Let me go sleep in your room. Like, it was very, very quick. It was in the span of like an episode. Mm-hmm. And so to me, the word love doesn't work.
Yes.
In that sense. And I will defend that.
You can have
that
opinion.
I also understand where you're coming from as far as a cultural perspective.
I think well, like I said, it's almost, to me, it's not even cultural, right? Like, artist intention to me doesn't exist. It does exist, but it no longer matters when other people interpret your work. For example, Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin has come out and said that Game of Thrones is basically about how global warming is fucked and it's going to ruin us all, but we are too busy dabbling in politics, right? That is what Game of Thrones is ultimately about. That is his intent on writing it. But then you watch the Game of Thrones series and it's completely the opposite, and that's because the two writers had different intents when they wrote it. What is the correct Game of Thrones story then? And ultimately, I don't think it matters. It only matters to you what your interpretation is, right? That makes sense at all?
No, that's absolutely
so
fair.
That's what I mean. Like, maybe Hideki Anno originally, his intention was for Karu and Shinji, although like I should look this up. Maybe he has more direct opinions on it, but maybe his intent was for them to not be as close to use the word love. But then it was the subs and dubbers, the translators' intent to, use that word for whatever reason. But the intents don't matter, because when I'm watching it in the hotel room where was I when I was watching Evangelion originally? Because I downloaded all the movies for vacation. I was on vacation while I was watching it, right? So in the Dominican Republic. I was just like,
why did you get a hotel room to go watch this movie?
That's how I watch all traumatic shows. When I
just crying with room service.
When I went and watched, when I was watching it, I ended up getting sick in the Dominican Republic. I originally was only going to watch it during like the flights, but I got sick, so I watched them all in my hotel room, or at least the rest in my hotel room. And I watched the subbed version. I didn't have the dubbed version of the film when Karu says that, right? And so it doesn't matter, because it probably wasn't even an official sub that I was watching. It was probably a fan sub. It was about that time. So it ultimately, to me, I don't think it matters what the intention was of the translators, because there are so many different levels that we end up getting it from, right? There's Hideki Anno's brain, and then there are the multiple different people that the story goes through, and the edits and the production, and then the random people on the internet that decide to translate it and then put that onto the wide open internet seas, and then there's me watching it. So that's why, to me, it really doesn't matter. And I think that, like, when it comes to Netflix translating that, it shows a complete, like, lack of connection to the audience of what people want to watch, right? So it was obvious that Netflix intent when making these decisions was to make money. And I do not like that intention behind it, because then it leaves me to interpret it very differently. Make sense? Sorry, very long discussion about this, but
no, it makes absolute sense. I've always been opposite of that.
Sure,
just in the sense that I believe that, like, I've just been the opposite. If like someone's writing something with a specific purpose in mind, I want to view it from that intent to see why they did what they did, kind of thing, right? The same reason that people talk about Avatar, the Blue People movie, as the U.S.'s invasion into the Middle East. And so, like, I see it from that perspective, even though people see it from very different perspectives. The idea of colonization and coming into a land that's not yours, so on and so forth. But again, that's we grew up very differently in that respect.
Very, very differently. And that's what I mean, though, is that because you and I literally will never have the same life experience. Just, it is impossible for us to truly see.
Is this time where we go into existential crisis mode?
In a way.
And we start differentiating each individual being based on
I actually wanted to talk
who
about
they are on the inside, outside, and what affects them.
Who your favorite angel was. But like
mine was Adam, because he was dead the whole time, technically on a cross.
No. Whoa, Gabe, you were not paying attention, were you? The person on the cross was not Adam. Buckaroo.
No, they called him Adam.
Yeah, but it wasn't Adam. The person on the cross was Lilith.
That was Lilith.
Okay, all
no,
right. No,
they said Adam was on the cross.
Yes,
Lilith was the one that showed up in the movie.
It was a lie.
Oh, that part I didn't hear.
Yes, they see. Okay, this is another thing. Gabe, I hate this translation. Want to know why?
Go for it.
I want you to just tell me Nerv. What's the mouth words that you make when you see NE? Thank you. Why the fuck do they call it nerve?
Yeah, no, I've been wondering about that too.
So yeah,
they butchered all the
it's like this. It's like these
nerve, soul, which they called like seals,
sele. Yeah. So they're, like I said, like when I was talking about it, like Netflix. There's just these like small, stupid things that they did, and I do not understand why they did it. Just small things.
I'm sure that there's a reason.
Yeah.
As far as pronunciation goes, to trying to stick to.
Because
in the original language it would have been pronounced like this, so these people would probably it would probably sound like this.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
I don't know,
but it doesn't come across that way because we don't know the origin.
Maybe if there was like one British character, they just decided that this character should be British now to be more inclusive. Whatever, don't care. And they say nerve. Fine, that's fine, because British people say things weird, but everybody is.
I thought it was German.
No. I'm not talking about Asuka. Asuka.
No. Nerve.
Nerve?
Is that?
No. Yeah. NERV is just like a thing. It's just a string. I don't even
No. Isn't nerve the quote unquote crappy German pronunciation in the English language?
Maybe, I don't know. But the thing is that
Asuka
wasn't the only one saying it like this. The dubbed Japanese.
It's not Asuko. It's Asuka.
Asuka. That's what I said.
Asuka.
That's what I said. I said Asuka.
No, you said Asuko.
You're weird.
You ended with a KO, not a KA.
You're hearing things. All right. Anyways,
probably.
That's all. There's just these like small things that they did that felt so weird to me and so wrong to me almost. Most other things were fine. Ultimately, with viewing
coming in from a fresh perspective, never having watched it before.
Yeah.
I get to come in and go, okay, why did they choose to make it this way? How does that fit? What was the director's like mind at? Where were the writers at in this process? And to me, I found little ways based on what people were saying online, what I was seeing in front of me on the screen, and what I was researching to try and put it all together to try to make sense, which ultimately comes to one of the biggest, if not the biggest, controversial points, which is the ending song.
Yeah, see, again, that's the thing, right? I personally, I don't, because I only watched the rebuild, I only watched the movie series. I don't have a big connection to the ending song. And also, we're on Netflix. You hear it for about 3 seconds, and then we skip right on through. Out of curiosity, while watching it on Netflix, you can be honest. How many times do you think you know how many times you hit the skip intro button? Because I'll be honest, I clicked it about 5 times towards the end. Every other time, though, listen to that shit all the way through.
I skipped it every other time.
Okay, that's fair.
So 13 out of 26.
Sure. That's fine.
Because I listened to it the first time, and I was like, okay, this show's really interesting. It's different than what I expected. Yeah. The song comes on, I'm like, I just heard it, skip. And that's only because I was watching 2, 3, 4 episodes a night. And so after I hear it once, like, I can go ahead and skip, which I know people talk about, like, haha, psych, it's actually illegal to skip that song. How dare you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna get on you about that. I love this song.
It's a good song. I don't care.
I will say, I'm sending you a link in Hangouts right now. This little image macro perfectly describes how the song goes.
You're not wrong.
Links,
I like it.
Links will be in the show notes for that.
Good.
Anyways, so yeah, like obviously Netflix saved money, not licensing.
They either saved money or they couldn't get it.
Yeah, they might not have been able to get it. But because
that's one of the things I saw people talking about. Again, this goes back to how I was able to, like, okay, they did this for this reason. People going online being like, if someone is complaining that Fly Me to the Moon isn't there, they've clearly never dealing with international copyright.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that's fair. I have no idea how to get started on that, so I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah. I'm not about to trip. I don't know, like, I don't know. Oh yeah, so it's actually just a Western licensing thing, because in Japan, Fly Me to the Moon is on there as the ED. So it's just something that has to do with the States and streaming, which I totally get.
There's too many laws to try to follow in on that, and too many companies trying
to
hold their budgets.
Again, I will say again, Fly Me to the Moon, I think that's a worthy sacrifice to get us here. Calling them the third children, not correct.
The first children, the second children, the third children, the fourth children, and the fifth children.
Why? Don't care. Don't care whatsoever.
But it's okay because they all work at NERV.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's been a little...
And Sealy.
Sealy? Anyways.
Sealy?
So I want to talk about...
It's okay because I like you, Dave. And you're worthy to be in my presence.
You're worthy of my grace, Gabe.
Thank you, Dale.
Anyways, I want to talk about the cool ass angels. I'm gonna list them off. I'm gonna say in canonical appearance throughout the series, not how they're presented to us through the series, through the actual episode to episode basis. So we have Adam, who is responsible for the second impact. He is either a big white glowing silhouette of an Eva, or he is a little fetus dinosaur looking thing. So do you remember those scenes with
the quote unquote giant winged beast
from
the Antarctic? Or no?
Yeah, like when they were trying to cover it up, like there's a silhouette. Do you remember the silhouette?
Oh yeah. I remember.
Right. And then do you remember the scene with Gendo Ikari? Shinji's dad. Do you remember like when whoever his right hand man was, whose name is escaping me, brings him the chest, and then frozen in amber is that little like dinosaur fetus looking thing. So that.
I don't remember how it looked like in the chest. I do remember that.
But you do remember that, yeah. So that is Adam. And then the next one, the person on the cross, which is, giving birth to the angels, that is Lilith. And they swap it. They don't really, they lie. I don't remember if it's Akari or Seal. Creepy organization that lies about
SEAL
it.
Team 8.
Yeah. So, but there are interesting Catholicism mythos that this has to do with. Sorry, I don't know why I can't think of the correct sentence, but
you're getting there.
So
you're getting there.
in the Catholic canon, the Sunday school Bible mythology is that there's
Hold
Adam.
on, I just had a quick pause.
Yes.
Quick pause. You said Sunday school Bible. All right, quick pause.
Yeah.
I know nothing about religion.
I know. Don't worry.
That I dislike religion.
There is.
So I'm going to remain quiet.
It is okay.
It is okay.
It is totally okay. I just want to talk about I don't know what it is about Japan, but like Japan loves using like Hermeticism, Judaism, Catholicism, and like Kabbalah, like mythology, to tell stories. So you got the Sunday school, you get taught that there is Adam and Eve, right? But then you read the weirder things in the Bible, and there's actually a person named Lilith that came before. If you watch the Sabrina the Teenage Witch, there's actually a pretty good history lesson on Catholicism about who Lilith is. And so originally it was Adam was created, and then there was Lilith, who is created independently of Adam, but then there was also Eve, who got created from one of Adam's ribs. So whole bunch of stuff we can talk about. Dissertations have been written about this kind of stuff, but Adam didn't like Lilith originally. The interpretation that you can come up with doesn't matter about the intent of the crazy people that wrote the Bible, but there's an interpretation that Adam didn't like Lilith because Lilith was made as an independent person, and while Eve was literally made by God, like with Adam for Adam, right? So I find it. And then there's some continuation, like some Gnostic continuation, that Lilith travels around the world alone, and then eventually Satan finds her, and then they hook up, and Lilith is what gives birth to demons and monsters. You see this in Supernatural. This is all like weird Gnostic Hermetic canon. So I find it interesting that Lilith is the thing that gives birth to the Evangelions, because like, though the Evangelions, although they are dangerous, ultimately are there to help us. So I just find that interesting. Take that as you will. Have you felt like you've learned something neat?
Every time someone tries to talk to me about Catholicism or just religion mythology.
So I'm not talking to you about how, like, why the Bible is law and that you should have your entire moral system. It's more of X-Men stories is how I talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I get it. I get it. I do find the way that they use it in the story interesting. I just wish that I had like the kind of intrigue into any sort of mythological story.
Not everybody is like me and has that stuff drilled into their brain for God knows what reason, but I just find it interesting.
I am curious as to how and why you know so much about this stuff.
It's just like what I got interested in. I mean, like literally we talked about it I talked about it for what seemed like hours on our Full Metal Alchemist one, because it was Full Metal Alchemist got me. Right. It got me introduced to the fact that like there's this Gnostic fiction about like that is not recognized as canon, and Gnosticism, it doesn't have to do with agnostic, I don't believe, like as the roots of words and whatnot, but Gnosticism is like just the cool like punk version of the Bible. Well, all right, I'm done. No more religion.
Speaking of a place that we were made to live, I had existential crises mode.
Yeah, dude, that I feel like was part of why it was hard for me to get through the show. I really don't know what it is. Part of it, I'm gonna be real, dude, I was bored, man. I understand. I like that it took its time, but like, you know, I need like 3 months to watch this anime, honestly, because I take a long time to watch the first half. Yeah. Like
once you start getting 14 and above, things start speeding up very quickly. That one's fine. But yeah, the first half I felt took quote unquote took its time.
Well, even the last half takes its time too.
Really? I felt like the closer you get to the end, the faster it starts to pick up.
If faster by the time it picks up means that between 24 and 25 there is a movie that you need to watch to actually understand what's going on, then sure. Other than that, I actually think the pacing is relatively the same. In Super Eye Patch Wolf's video, he actually kind of talks about this, about how production was crazy. The ending of Evangelion was completely scrapped and changed. That's why we get the weird storyboarded episode 25 and 26. What happened was there was the infamous sarin gas by a death cult attack in Japan, and the end of Evangelion, which is now a movie, but the ending of the series was very close to that, and people were very uncomfortable. Eventually the end of Evangelion came out, and you can see why. Because a force goes through the entire world and immediately liquefies people. Kind of like what sarin gas did to these poor people at the train stations. So that's why, like, that's why it is the way it is. But, of course, there's always a phrase.
No, yeah.
there's a phrase that is always said. He said, the Super Eye Patch Wolf says it. It's the reason why Magic the Gathering is the greatest card game in the world. That is that limitations breed creativity. The issues that Evangelion have, I think, would if they didn't have it, Evangelion, I don't think would be nearly as good and as impactful as it is today. The history behind the show is that while Hideki Anno was writing this, he was in a very dark place. A lot of his series his series had ended and they weren't received well, and then other series were completely canceled. So that's why the characters are the way they are in Evangelion. Sorry.
You and I think, had existential crises for very different reasons.
Maybe. Maybe. The show in itself is very existential, and it deals a lot with like who you are as an individual versus the collective. The issue is, Gabe, is that I already went through this when I first watched Evangelion, and I already went through this when I read a lot on Evangelion, and I already went through this when I explored other existential mediums and media and storytelling and stuff like that. I approach it with a very academic maybe way, while you, I think, approach media very personally, and I totally get that.
True.
It's just something that I do these days. So like, I found the discussion of, in the end of Evangelion, how the humanity's instrumentality project is to combine everybody into this primordial goo. And technically we will be more at peace, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're happy, right? And then there's the existential thoughts of how we ourselves as individuals are really not people unless there are other people that can see us and that we compare each other to. They explore that in a lot in Evangelion, and like, I don't find a lot of videos and video essays talking about that, and I find that fascinating because I think like no other show has directly talked about like how like like how Shinji could have made the perfect world, but he would have to be by himself or combined with other people. And in End of Evangelion, he says like, the reason, I choose to have everybody else back because without somebody else there, I really am not a person and I can't shape myself to be a person. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I take it from I take it from the personal sense, where I have to find a way to connect with the character, put myself in their shoes, and try to understand the direction that their thought process is coming from and how it can or cannot relate to me or someone else that I know. And so the idea that you are not someone, you're really nothing, but you're also a little piece of everyone, and you are built off these little pieces of everyone else around you. Like, you can see your faults in someone else, you can see your fears in someone else, you can see your joy in someone else, the same way they can see that in you. And you can pick apart these little pieces when those little moments where, like, if you're, oh gosh, how do I say that? Like, when you're born, people always say you have so-and-so's eyes or so-and-so's nose. Man, when you get really angry, you remind me of so-and-so. Or, man, your laugh reminds me of this person. Like, those little things that we compare and contrast each other to. But interestingly enough, the show itself and that kind of thought crafting, as I'll call it, like that little mind exercise that we do of trying to understand what it means to be human, what it means to be us, and what defines us as us versus someone else. That wasn't the part that gave me that kind of existential crisis. It was the idea of, things can be broken down so easily. They can be made, broken down, remade, broken down. And there's never that perfect solution, because genuinely, since humans, if we consider humans to be imperfect, communication, language is something that we created and that we use. And so by default, that should also be and is imperfect. And because communication is imperfect, conflict and miscommunication is inherent in everyday human interactions and how we learn and how we see each other, even though people always love to say, there's more that connects us than divides us, which is very true. But because of miscommunication, we probably can never fully understand that.
Yeah.
what got to me even more so when they were talking about the second impact and possibly trying to start the third impact, the death of the world, the death of this planet, and how easily, there are so many bigger things out there. Shinji comes in as a 14-year-old boy with very low self-confidence, very isolated, bunch of family problems. Some people could say mental health issues.
So some people can say everybody says mental health issues.
Right, exactly. Comes in, and in like the span of an hour there's an attack. He's picked up by someone, and then he's thrown into the single greatest defense that the world has.
Yeah.
From an isolated schoolboy. Like that realization that there's so much more out there and how tiny and small we are, but that even as someone who is small and imperfect, that we can have an impact on something greater. That gets me more, because so as I was talking about, we're recording this the end of the July 4th weekend.
Yep.
And for the first time in I don't know how long, I'm going to literally say, I think it's been 3 or 4, maybe 5 years since my family and I have sat down together and had a meal at a table. We always sit down together and eat, but it's always around the TV.
Sure.
Or, we have different schedules, blah, blah, blah. But the topics of conversation, for some reason, in my family, always come back to world events, human language and development, and how the Earth is actually this giant molten water balloon that somehow has this thin little crust that we can live on, and this thin little air bubble around it that allows us to survive, and how tiny we really are in the grand scheme of this planet and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And so that to me is where I hit my existential crisis mode of trying to understand that I am so incredibly small and insignificant, but from the lens and the perspective that we as quote-unquote people and humans see ourselves and compare ourselves to each other, I have a grand impact on those around me and those just near me, and I am impacted greatly by those around me and those near me, more so through the job that I currently have now, which I work with kids, I teach kids. And so seeing that development and understanding that my words and my actions, and I have to be very precise and very open about how I say and what I say, and I can see a direct and almost instantaneous impact to what I'm doing and what I'm saying from day to day, like that hits me more so in that little bubble of existentialism, because I think you and I both agree, like we've been through these. We've gone over the existential crisis. We've gone over that quote-unquote hump. We dealt with it in middle school and high school and through everything we read. But like these last 2 weeks have been nothing but like, holy shit, Gabe. You're so fucking small.
Yeah.
You could die like that.
Yeah.
The world could just... If the world burped, everyone would die. Like,
yeah.
That's what I was dealing with for the last 2 weeks.
Man, dude. I feel it. I totally feel it. Meanwhile, like I was kind of going through my own issues of just like, of really just like, I don't know, how do I, not liking what I was doing, not in like a existential way, but like I wasn't liking the podcasts that I was producing. I wasn't like the stories that I was writing. I wasn't liking the project's ideas. I'm not liking how I'm progressing on my transferring stuff because it's taking so long. But like, I guess like, watching, that's why I was having issues watching Evangelion. It wasn't that I was uncomfortable watching it. I was just dealing with life things. But like Evangelion, like, it's pretty good to like help you get over that little hump in a way. So
it doesn't help that, we have,
bless you.
It doesn't help that we have very consistent reminders on the TV and in everything we listen to that
I have gone
like, hey, we have 20 years, 30 years to turn things around.
Tell me
we all
it's 10.
Die.
Yeah, no, that's why like I've done this like complete media blackout because I just don't want to deal with
2040 is irreversible. By 2080, so-and-so is going to happen. By the year 3000, guess what? It's just going to be a second or third impact.
We're going to be all underwater.
Die. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Oh,
fuck,
dude.
No.
Yeah, it's fucking
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. That's why you gotta vote. You gotta vote on the right candidates, and then I don't think about it ever again.
And that's why I care so much about like the impact that I can have. And really, like, I think that it's interesting because I consider, so just a quick little tidbit or a little tangent if you want to go off on this as well with me. Because I consider myself a nihilist. I don't believe that there is, you know, maybe there is, maybe there isn't something out there or beyond us or after us. But at the same time, I don't care because I don't believe that rules how and what we do.
I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. Because I have this issue, small issue, of people calling themselves nihilists specifically. Have you read Nietzsche, like, to completion?
Not to completion.
Okay,
no.
That is the core issue. A lot of what Nietzsche actually writes about is how we can find meaning in our life. Even though that's what I mean though. I think a holistic approach to nihilism is it's not a like nothing matters, so we'll watch the world burn. Because that is a pessimistic thing, right? Like nihilism,
that's absolutely pessimism.
Like nihilism is, I think, a lot more positive because it's about finding meaning. It's about finding meaning, like, through yourself and like through what you do and like your actions, and it is
so
happy.
I was actually really close then, because let me finish, because this was my explanation. Was the idea that, you know, humans created the, like, maybe we did, maybe we didn't, who knows, but this idea that, like, good and right, there's good and right, there's bad and wrong, there's evil and good, there's all these forces, blah blah blah, and like there's moral guidelines that we have to follow and blah blah blah, all that bullshit. No, like I don't believe that there's set rules and things that we have to follow and that we have to force ourselves into, but I almost see the world in the sense that it's like, imagine sandbox mode in a video game, where everything is here, we are here, and we can discover ourselves however we want, we can define ourselves in how we want, we can find that optimism because we have the ability and the creativeness to make an impact, to make a difference, and to build and create, which is something that, like, whether this is God-given, whether this is not, whatever, like, it's a really positive outlook that even though things look like crap, there's no set rule saying, like, everything has to go to shit, like, nothing matters, like, you can give a shit about something regardless of whether or not it has quote-unquote meaning in life, and you can make a positive impact, and you can make an impact at all in something by choosing who you want to be and what you want to do. There isn't this fate that's guiding you, and you're gonna have to start at point A and end at point B, and there's nothing you can do about it, kind of thing. That's the way that I took from it. Again, my incomplete reading, but I do consider it to be a very positive outlook. And so, whatever you want to call me, nihilist, non-nihilist, optimistic, pessimistic, whatever you want to call me, like that, the only term that I know that's close to what I think, or that I believe is nihilism.
That is close.
So, again, that word aside, the idea that, you know, I've become, knowing that I'm going to be transferring soon, hearing this constant, like, backlash of people don't want to do anything, and the world sucks, and everything's going downhill, and we're all going to die, blah, blah, blah. And instead I see the chance for change and opportunity as I'm going through and starting to see my impact on those around me, and starting to hope for the chance to get these opportunities, to make that change, to get to know new and different people. New ideas are going to be coming around the corner, and that we can jump on those, and that we can actively make changes to make things better as we move forward. And so that to me is like that kind of positive, optimistic hopefulness that kind of got me over these last 2 weeks of holy crap, we live in a little bubble and we're all gonna die. So that was like the jump that I wanted to make there. I don't actually remember where I was going with that, but yeah.
Totally fine. I'm just gonna let you do your thing. Yeah, dude. Basically, yeah. Like, I don't know. It's hard to, like. I do not have the tools nor equipment.
You're free to cut that out because I have no idea.
It's fine. I don't have the tools nor equipment to be able to, like, really like talk about it anymore, because, like, yes, like, you're ultimately talking about the big question, like, what is the meaning to life? And it's like, A lot of people.
And what if the answer is that there is no meaning?
I don't know,
if that's
dude.
the case, then who cares?
It's not even like about that. I just don't even see the point in asking the question anymore. The point of life is to watch anime. So
that is the best answer. I mean, there's 42 and watching anime.
Yeah, sure. Like, I don't know. I find a lot of.
Do you not like 42 as the answer of life?
I do. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've listened to like one of the audiobooks. It's just it's like this.
I didn't know they had an audiobook.
Yeah. Did you know that? It was a book series first?
That I did know.
Okay. Yeah. There's audiobooks. It's a book. It's on Audible. Like there's.
That never clicked for me. We live in the modern day. A book became an audiobook. What?
Yeah.
There's an audiobook?
So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Pop nihilism is dumb to talk about. I just want to talk about anime. I just want to chill.
I enjoy these quote unquote real life discussions.
Sure.
Because that to me is what anime is.
Yeah.
It's bringing apart these little pieces.
Maybe it's because
these little stories inside of us to life.
Absolutely. And it's like maybe because I've like already had these kind of discussions before. Or for whatever reason, it's like these things of like existential crisis of we're just little people on this big rock. I fixed that issue in my mind with individualism, but not like the weird like Atlas Shrugged. Who wrote Atlas Shrugged again? I can't even remember. I just don't care that much. Written by Ayn Rand, right? Randian. There's this Randian philosophy about individualism. Read Atlas Shrugged and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's like inherently toxic. So that's what I'm not saying when it comes to individualism. I just like you just take one step forward and you just enjoy it because life is pretty okay at times. So, and that's like ultimately what Evangelion teaches us, right? Cool. Are we good?
That's what I say.
Have we got the existential crisis over? Can we get to the Mimi conversations now? Can we get to the fun jokes?
Me, that's not even like I'll be honest. I don't even consider that to be like a conversation of existentialism.
Yeah, no,
existentialism.
It was.
To me, that's just like a conversation to have because I find it.
Yeah, but the subject matter is
continue.
existentialism. All right, let's get to the fun conversations. Evangelion. It's like this is like one of those shows that like every frame has been analyzed of this show. So there's a lot of discussions, and there's like we're good with the philosophy discussions. I feel because I think both you and I are just not equipped to like really take it any further. Only
by personal biases.
Exactly. So I wanted to talk about the angels and their cool design. That was all. I just want to talk about the angels. What's your favorite angel? You're not allowed to say Adam.
I didn't care
You're
about
not
any
allowed
of the
to.
angels.
What?
Yep.
They're like the core crux of the show for a little
Didn't
bit.
care about any of the angels.
What?
Yep.
You don't have a single opinion.
On those, I thought they looked kind of funky, and I was like, all right, do your thing. Do your thing, anime.
Get out of here, Gabe. Because there is a correct answer to who the best angel is.
And that is?
It's Ramiel, the our blue octahedron boy.
Enlighten me, Dale. Why is that the right answer?
It's just the right answer.
So you have no defense for it. You just
bubbled
C because you knew it was C.
My answer is that it's Ramiel, and he's our blue octahedron boy that makes fun screechy sounds. I just find Ramiel amazing.
That's not even a discussion to be had. That's
well, I just figured you'd have a stronger opinion. Laliel, which is the big shadow, that's also another cool one.
The second they called him angels, I was like, all right, I'm over it.
What? Gabe, you gotta get
because there's literally only one show that I've ever Is it Angel
Beats?
Shows now that I actually give a care about where they ever say the word angel or demon or whatever.
Is one of them Angel Beats?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's an even better one.
Oh boy.
And it has 2 D's.
Oh God. Gabe.
Let's go.
Why
High School DxD boys.
You just have such bad taste. Good Lord. And it's not like in a bad way. When I say taste, I mean it's like the definition of discernment, right? The discernment between shows. And I know a lot of people. I want to talk to people. Some people I just want to tell them, I'm like, listen, you have bad taste, and that's okay. You just need to know you have bad taste. And so, Gabe, I'm just going to tell you right now.
I have bad taste based on your personal.
You have bad discernment.
Ideas of what a good anime is.
No. You no. You have bad discernment as to what makes shows good and bad on an individual basis. And that is
I know what I like and what I don't like.
Okay, maybe you do have good taste.
I know what I like and what I don't like.
You may have good taste.
I don't care what the populace say.
But why do you turn off on all these amazing kaijus just because they're called angels?
Because I dislike religion. And that is a personal bias.
That is bad discernment. You need to be able to understand that calling it an angel is just a set dressing. Okay.
No, I realize that. Even if they didn't call him an angel, if they called it Cat in a Hat coming down from the sky, I don't care.
All right,
they could be calling him. Oh,
that's
shit,
the edit
this
I
is
need.
The 15th Cat in the Hat coming down in 3 weeks.
Every angel is now Cat in the Hat.
This is the first Cat in the Hat we've had in 15 years, sir. What do we do? Like, that would be amazing. I still wouldn't care because I didn't care for the design. I didn't understand the purpose of the design. To me, they were just a literal object that was supposed to be overcome, that had some sort of more meaning that I never understood.
No, that's the beauty of them, is that they kind of don't have meaning to them. I mean, technically,
even more so that I care even less.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Oh, Gabe. Oh, Gabe. Sometimes,
Go ahead.
Sometimes
Make your
you
defense
just
for the angels.
No, it's not even that. Like, sometimes you just have like these great takes that ultimately this podcast is better for it, and then you got these kind of takes, and I just don't even know how to react to them. Okay, I'm gonna list off the angels in canonical order. From when they appear, not like in per episode, but like how they appear in the story. So the very first one is Adam, and that's the second impact. Lilith is there too. Adam is the weird silhouette, aka or like the little thing in the amber. Lilith is the iconic, angel on the cross with the mask of seal. Zachiel is the very first angel that we meet that nearly kills Shinji. Then we have Shamshel, which is the angel with the cool tentacle arms that nearly kills Shinji and his two friends. You have Ramiel, which is our good octahedron blue boy who makes screechy noises and big lasers, and I love him because he's perfect. Then we have Gahiel. I believe that's how I'm pronouncing most of these wrong, most of these correct. We have Gahiel.
I'm just every time you say when you said, and I love him because he's perfect.
He's perfect.
All I could see in my mind was the words pop up. Love is love.
The next body pillow that I get is Ramiel.
Oh no!
So then we have Gahiel, which is the underwater one that Asuka fights. My bad. Then we have Israfel, which is the twin angel that you have to defeat at the same time to actually get them to explode. Then you have Sandalphon, which is the in the lava angel that Asuka has to fight. I don't know how to say her name anymore. It's not even a real world. Asuka. Just say Asuka. Asuka, thank you. That's Sandalphon. It's the one that was in the lava, which is like he looks like a fish boy. Then we have Material, which is the spider boy, where they have to shoot at him with a submachine gun. Then you have this one's a tough one. I believe it's Sahaquil, which is the weird eye one that just wanted to fall down to earth really hard. Sahaquil, thank you. Then we have, I probably should have sent you the link from what I'm reading off of these. Anyways, and then we have Iriel, which is the nanobite one, which is also a very good top contender for most interesting. Then we have Leliel, which is the orb/shadow, another good top contender for being the most interesting. That's the one that Shinji fell into that black abyss. Then we have Bardiel, which was the one that took over Eva 03, which was Toji's Eva that he was supposed to fight fight. Then we have Zerial. Zerul. I think it's Zerul. No, Zerul. Which is the one with the weird kind of flag arms that Asuka ultimately loses to. Then we have Arl, which is the weird one in space. And then we have that's a lot of them though. And then we have Armzeal, which is the weird tentacle monster that turns into Rey for a hot minute. Not to be confused with Lilith, that Rey turns into. And then we have Tabris, which is technically the angel name for Karu when he takes over the Avas. So those are all of them. Which one's your favorite?
I was gonna say my favorite is when they get into the mech.
Yeah.
And then they have to go through liquid breathing because that shit's intense.
That one's cool. I really like that. The what do they call it? The NT fluid? Is that what it is?
It's an actual thing that deep sea divers have to do so that they don't so that it doesn't fuck with them when they try to come up.
I have also.
But it sounds terrifying. Like breathing. Oh God! Like you feel like you're drowning, but you're also breathing at the same time. Yeah. I can't even imagine how that messes.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, so for me, like, and I know I'm not the only one that has this problem, and I'm just gonna say this because this is the only way I think I can explain it. I had no opinions on the angels because when it comes to things that are quote unquote abstract, right? Can we call the angels abstract?
No, not even remotely. They just have cool and unique designs.
What is the individual meaning for each of those designs?
That they look fucking cool.
Okay. That's
like
not
what
meaning to it.
Yeah, no, Gabe, you got to understand they're big monsters, so they're fucking cool.
But not all of them look like monsters, and they just have really weird designs.
Tell me, how do none of them look like monsters?
How does a giant floating diamond look like a monster?
Because it shoots lasers and it drills into the earth and it makes cool screeching noises.
Where was any sort of like mouth communication sense?
Why?
Anything that showed that it was more than just like a floating.
Why do any of them need that? Oh, by the way, I sent you the image of like all of them kind of lined up.
Okay.
Gabe,
let's see.
Gabe, monsters don't need mouths. They just need to be antagonists to our heroes. You do realize that every single one of them had the same exact goal. It just so happened that Karu was the one to achieve it.
They had the same goal, but not all of them looked at all the same.
Yeah. You want to know why? Because they're fucking cool.
Like the one that you like, Remu.
Yeah.
Literally just looks like something out of Las Vegas. That's all it does.
Yeah.
The spider one looks like a monster. The twins look like monsters. The deep sea dive looks like a monster. All the top three right here look like monsters. The giant spider, definitely a monster.
Definitely a monster.
But the giant ring of nothingness does not look like a monster.
Gabe, it was a big light snake that like got into your veins when it hit you. That shit's nuts.
Oh, that was that one.
That was that one.
It didn't look like that one based on the picture.
The picture is a little weird. It's like a ring of X's. It's a little odd.
It literally just looks like a giant ring of X's.
Yeah. It's a little odd.
So
yeah,
I forgot
that one's the
yeah.
cool worm one that like gets into you and then starts to mimic you to seduce the other pilot.
But like I can see, so like if I want to look back at these,
yeah,
like there are some that I can see that play a purpose based on the design for that episode and that story.
Sure.
Like you look at Aziraphale, the twins, and I'm sure that there's some deeper connection to the designs and the names based on like what these names are.
No, you know what's cool?
Whatever.
You know what's sweet? These are all just names of angels. Like canonical, like Catholic angels.
Yeah, but don't each of those angels have their own like little story, or are they just named and never talked about?
Yeah, dog. Yeah, that's mostly what angels do. Like Michael.
No,
Michael gets the most showing.
You have the archangels.
Yeah,
talked about
well, okay, if we're talking like, are we talking about like OG like in the Bible archangels? Most of them are just generals, kind of. Like there's really only two cool angels. One of them is Lucifer Morningstar, and That's just because it's Satan, and Satan's cool, kids. And the
Wait,
other
his last name is Morningstar?
fuck yeah, it is, dude. At least I think
What
it is.
JoJo world are we living in?
Yeah, dude, that's why I
God
read
damn.
that's why I read the Bible. I want to see.
Watch JoJo, read the Bible, all the entertainment.
I believe Morningstar
Done.
is actually yeah. So I believe I don't think Morningstar is the actual Catholic name. It's
That would be amazing.
So there are a couple of different things. So in
The devil is Lucifer
there
Morningstar.
is a DC canon kind of off section of the Sandman and Lucifer. Well, hold on, I want to see because I thought it was.
If it is, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, hold on. Sometime later, the metaphor of the morning star, that is Isaiah 4:12, applied to the king of Babylon, gave rise to the general use of Latin word for morning star, capitalized as the original name of the devil before his fall from grace. So yes, Lucifer Morningstar. That is a canonical Bible thing. But if you type in Lucifer Morningstar, you get the DC/Netflix series Lucifer Morningstar, which is the king of hell. He makes deals, and then in a spin-off series that Netflix now owns, he solves crimes. Pretty okay binge television for being in the background. So, played by Tom Ellis. Anyways,
Fair enough.
as I was saying, a lot of the angels just have cool as fuck names. And so, to go with these cool as fuck names, you get these fucking crazy ass designs. Like all of these
Fair enough.
all of these pass
I will
the
not argue
silhouette
with you on
test.
that.
All of them.
If I was gonna pick one, I would say oh god, I'm gonna try to pronounce that. That's gonna
it's hard. It's real hard.
Ireliu. Ireliu.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say it in broken English.
Sure.
Ireliu.
Yeah. Irelia. Yeah, the cool nano. That's a cool one. At least I believe these all should be. I know for a fact that Ramiel is one of the cooler angels, like Catholic angels. But Ramiel's dope because he's a blue octahedron. And I also know that Sandolphin, I believe, and Israfel are like angel names. I believe most of them. These all should be angel names.
I think the only reason I call it Aziraphale instead of Azraphale is I'm pretty. Oh god, I hope that's right. I'm pretty sure they say the name Aziraphale, pronounced that way, Aziraphale.
Yep, and it's
in
awful.
Good Omens.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The show Good Omens.
Yeah. Okay,
and
how
so
about this?
That's where I remember hearing that.
Israfel is the angel who blows into the trumpet before Armageddon and is sometimes depicted as an angel of music. So it's actually Islamic.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So let's see here. Ramiel. Ramiel is like fucking some brother of some like main angel. I don't care that much, but let's see here. Bible. Ramiel in the Bible is both a fallen watcher and an archangel in the apocryphal book of Enoch. Ramiel means thunder of God. So you see, blue octahedron.
Hence the lightning.
Blue octahedron
Hence
boy.
the giant bolt of laser that it shoots.
Octahedron boy. Best boy. But yeah, so a lot of these come from Hebrew.
Look up Ireliu.
Oh, my bad.
Irelu.
IRE. We'll just say
UL.
Bible. Did I mean Uriel? Is listed as the fourth angel in Christian Gnostics under the name Phonul by Gregory the Great, and in the Angelology of Pseudo-Dionysius. However, the Book of Enoch clearly distinguishes the two angels. Uriel means God is my light, where Phanul means turn to God. So it's just kind of a dude. I think it's spelled differently. When I look it up, it's Uriel versus how it's spelled in here, which is Ireeul.
Oh yeah, because if you look it up just like the way it's spelled in here, it just comes up with Evangelion fandoms.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to you have to find it like through a specific Bible search. It's a little difficult, but yes, these are all names of angels. And if you're going to have a naming convention, angels versus classic rock songs, it's a big toss up. But I don't think Evangelion would have the same impact if Ramiel was named Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. So, like how
I think it would. I think it totally would.
like how JoJo stands are named. So,
I think it absolutely would.
So that's why I just think Ramiel's the best. He's cool. He's just a blue octahedron, and honestly, in my opinion, until the big boys come in, like he's the one that makes like the biggest threat and the biggest attack in the first few episodes. It isn't until you get to Ariel, the nanobites, like the nanos, which is like way later in the series, do we see like another impact like Ramiel has. Also, Ramiel is a good blue octahedron boy, which is all I need to say.
Love is love, guys.
Love is love. All right. Now, we've had our discussions about existentialism, where people fit in this world, whether or not it's worth living, how you should live your life holistically and to be happy in living. But now we need to get to the real conversation.
I don't remember having any of those previous conversations, but all right,
the same conversation that's been going on for 20 years, and it will go on for another 20 years.
You already know what the answer is.
I pose to you, who is best girl?
It's not Asuka.
It's not Rei
not Misato.
Either. It's not Rei.
It's Rei.
It's not Rei.
It's Rei.
Why?
Rei is best girl.
Why? Why is Rei best girl? I have to know, dude. Rei is so boring. Such a typical answer, too.
Because she is the first children.
Yeah, but she's also she's also half of your mom.
Not my mom.
That's fair.
Not my mom. I can tell you
fair.
that right
That's
now.
All. That's
no,
fair.
but because I think one, the fact that I think her backstory is probably one of the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
Her being the vessel for the soul of Lilith, and the idea that
no, you're describing why she's a cool character and why she's cool. I need you to describe why she's best girl. Two completely different things.
But why she's best girl is the fact that she is a better character.
I know, but Gabe, why, when you have your one wish to wish Asuka, God Lord, Asuka or Rei into the real world, which one do you pick? That's who best girl is. Do you understand who best girl is? That's what best girl is.
I would pick Rei because Asuka's too much to handle, and so is Misato.
Yeah,
they're both fair. They're both kind of. They're the girls that like, ooh, wait, she would be cool to get to know. Hold on, girl, let me get your number.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get their number, and you're
and
like,
it's like, oh no,
this was a mistake.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
But Rei's the one that you're like, I can't tell if she's into me or not. So you play the game, you play the long ball, right? You make your decisions. You got to make decisive moves.
Boring, Gabe. I think honestly,
until you get to know her, until she opens up.
Dude, I'm not even joking.
That's the prize.
I think it's
That's the prize, man.
It's a very interesting conversation to have in Evangelion. I'm really not. I do find this conversation actually very fascinating to me. When it comes to like Ava, or really just like any show that people are diehard fans of, but like the original conversation is Rei versus Asuka, and then you could and then you could have the bigger brain opinion, which is of course Misato because she's the adult, and she's legal of age, or you have the biggest brain, and obviously it's Marie Makaname. From the films.
You can't beat that.
But Marie, I found Marie very interesting because everybody has either selfish or incomplete reasons to pilot the Ava. This is another kind of question. This is the, what does fully coolly mean to you kind of question when it comes to Evangelion, is like, why do you pilot the Ava? And it gets somewhat answered. I don't really remember, right? But Rei pilots because she's told to, and she is ultimately a good soldier. Asuka describes her as a doll. But Rei, to me, Rei is like a good soldier, but she also she's also pretty vacant of other reasons. Asuka pilots it because that's how she proves her self-worth. It's how she knows life is worth living, is that she is not only piloting an Ava. Yes, yeah. Exactly, right. Not only that she's piloting an Ava, but that she's the best at piloting an Ava. And then with Shinji,
you could say it's similar to Rei because again, like Ray says, she does it because she's told to, and to her that is her meaning, that is her purpose.
Absolutely, right. But it's I think yeah. Well, everybody has purpose for driving the Evas, but like Shinji's purpose is given to him because people like him more when he pilots the Eva and does a good job piloting the Eva. Marie is one of the only characters that just likes piloting the Eva. She in the movies, so in the anime, right, it's this crazy thing that happens when the Eva goes berserk, and it's a little touchy and it's a little bad when it happens, but sometimes it gets the job done. Marie has the innate ability to cause her Eva to go crazy. Like she just does it, and she likes doing it, and she just can't do it. She feels most at home when she's inside a plug suit or inside the pods. It's kind of interesting.
There's gotta be some deep-seated issues in that right there.
Well, that's the thing, is that there kind of isn't. Marie doesn't get much of a backstory. I'm going to watch the movie soon, and I'll probably talk about it next time we record for briefly. But
please send it to me so that I can watch it as well.
Yeah. So she like, there's a little paragraph here. Like, she also demonstrated considerable knowledge about the inner workings of Evangelions by activating Unit 02's, which is Asuka's, Beast Mode, which is a controlled berserk mode. During this, she demonstrated a bloodthirsty, animalistic behavior not unlike that of the Eva, and despite the heavy damage sustained, she never once attempted to retreat, but pressed her attacks until her Eva was damaged beyond combat capability. She also is one of the few characters that doesn't get hurt while she's in the Eva. Like, it was a big thing, and it depends on like why you think Marie is like in here. Like, Marie might be in there just because she is the fan service character. That's the small brain take. A slightly bigger brain take is that Hideki Anno specifically had her be this as a way to subvert the trope of the character that is that is for fan service. This also leads into why I actually quite like why I really do enjoy Darling in the Franxx, because 02 is Marie Makaname. Also, Darling in the Franxx is inherently a massive fucking just Evangelion fan fiction. Did you watch it a lot? I can't remember. I thought you watched a few episodes but didn't complete it. But you also might have completed it.
No, we watched the whole thing.
Oh, that's
because
right.
we talked about how Trigger made it all the way to the final episode.
That's right. Okay.
And then she became a giant ship in space.
So, is it weird how 02's name is 02, and she also has a lot of the same color scheming as Asuka, who is the second child and pilots, or no, the third.
Third.
She's the third child, but she pilots Eva Unit 02. And
wait, are you saying that somehow someone watched that Evangelion?
What I'm saying
and then
is
made
that
like
Darling in the Franxx is just an Evangelion like fan fiction. So there's a lot.
Crazy.
But that's kind of the thing, is that like I find the characters who, like, there is nothing about Marie that like she ultimately does not have issues like the other characters do, and she acts like a foil to these issues. She has one goal and one purpose, and that is to get in an Eva and pilot the Eva, because it's cool to pilot fucking big ass robots.
So, as someone who hasn't been able to see like the show's introduction of her and how she interacts with the other characters and all that, like, I can't. I have nothing to say on that matter. As far as Ada goes, I don't actually think he would be a good fit.
Yeah.
And I think it's more so from a personal perspective this is someone who clearly is like a giant military nerd, and he loves that stuff, but he's never actually experienced it. And I think what goes on in his brain versus what goes on in reality wouldn't click. And that kind of like distress, I don't think he would be able to fully there's nothing that shows me like he would be able to stand up to that kind of mental stress of making it through, because he seems a little more put together, a little more quote unquote like normal, compared to he doesn't seem like he has as much issues as the other kids. And so I think it would actually like damage him in a way.
It could very potentially. It very potentially could. But I think that's why like Marie kind of takes over that spot in a way. Also, like another thing is that like I'm kind of been reading through her character bio just a little bit just to refresh my memory. She also like it was never chosen by Nerve. She's technically part of a different organization called Willie. I love Evangelion. It's Wille. It might just be Will. Or
I'm gonna say it's Willie now.
Willie. It is in direct opposition to Nerve, but it's kind of interesting. That's like ultimately what she becomes a part of after the movies kind of take place. But she first pilots. Let me see here. Oh shoot, I can't remember. 05, which I believe in the anime is one that goes missing or is destroyed essentially. But her first plug suit, which is the poster that I have of her, the first plug suit is actually probably hacked together. It's kind of implied that she built it herself, or at least that whoever she is with built it specifically for her. It's not like the other plug. It's not like the other plug suits that like are different colors, but they're more or less kind of mass produced. She later gets like a pink one. But she pilots 02 for a little while, but then she eventually gets into 08, which is like a totally like new one, which is like actually pretty, it's her pink one essentially.
Didn't they talk about trying to make Zero? No, what was it? Wasn't one of them like went berserk or like exploded or something?
Yes. So the American,
but they were talking about that like in the U.S. They were in production to make 08 or something.
Oh shoot, which one is it? I believe it is 05. I believe it should be 05. Where that one,
because they were going to make like 8 more or something. They were supposed
to
be what,
they were
supposed to in total.
They were supposed to make some more of like cool custom ones like that we see of Unit 0, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4 ? But then they do the mass-produced ones, which are the weird ones with wings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No. Unit 5 is the main one. Unit 5 was an Evangelion model developed in the United States. Unit 04 was a test subject for installing the S2 drive into an ordinary Eva, likely by using one recovered from Shamshil. Unfortunately, there was an accident involving the S2 engine, which caused Unit 4, the facility it was in, and everything within an 80-kilometer diameter to be consumed by a Dirac C, which is fucking something. Is seen as a large shadow in episode 16 during the attack. Okay. Oh, that's right. The Dirac C is the anti-inversed flip-flopped AT field that makes a pocket dimension. AT fields are cool. The shadow that eats Shinji, Unit 4 made.
No. Yeah. I remember that. I was trying to remember. Oh God, is it in the intro or outro where if you pause it correctly, you can see what AT field stands for? What is AT? Oh God, I forget what AT field stands for. I think I took a picture of it.
I don't know, dude. The AT fields are ultimately the walls that we build inside of ourselves. That's what they are. And that is like the fun absolute terror field.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Or is a barrier that both angels and Evas can generate to protect themselves. AT fields typically take the shape of an octagon and usually an orange color. The strength of an AT field produced varies between angels. Blah, 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 blah. The strength of an Ava's unit fields depends upon the synchronization level of the pilot and the strength setting used at the time. Ava pilots can control the strength of the AT field from their entry plug. So a lot of it, actually, what's funny is the thing, God, I wish I could find that GIF. The thing that actually got me to watch Evangelion finally is I believe it was actually Zachiel, which is the first angel that our homie Shinji has to fight. There's a GIF that's just beautiful animation from the films, and that's why I started watching it. I think that, yeah, actually, I'm remembering now that is specifically why I started watching Evangelion, is because the GIF is just so sick and the scene is just so fucking sick. Anyways, so yeah, Marie Makanami, best girl for obvious reasons. Ray, worst girl. Just the awful.
Ray, best girl until I watch more of the movies.
She is the worst. I don't understand the Ray argument.
I don't understand the Asuka argument.
What I was talking about earlier is like I find it very
unless we're talking about the most recent version in which 02's best girl, I forget the name of that one girl.
No.
And she's worst girl.
Not 02 is her name. No, so
not 02.
Yeah. So I find it very interesting, the discussion, because I think it's very telling about what people enjoy more in a person when it comes to like the Asuka versus Ray debate, and how Marie is the obvious choice because you guys don't have big brain takes like I do.
Again, I haven't seen or met her. Maybe I would agree with you if I had seen it.
What I'm saying is that you should soon.
Where do I find this? Is it on Netflix?
No, it's not on Netflix. You gotta search around.
You gotta find it through totally legal means.
You gotta find it totally legal means. I wonder if it's on Kiss Anime.
If it is, I'll check that out.
It's probably
but
on
Kiss Anime is just like a hub of viruses now.
Well, that's why you use AdBlock, homie.
I do, and then it won't let me go through.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not getting viruses. It's just a bunch of ads.
Yeah, but it's annoying as hell.
Evangelion.
Either way.
What one? Maybe. Oh, whoa. Maybe you can't find it. Oh Lord.
Are you having to close a bunch of ads right now?
No, I'm actually not, because I use AdBlock properly. And then you just turn it off. Ooh, man, this might be tough for you to actually find, honestly. Watch cartoons online seems to have it. Good luck, friendo.
All right.
That's all I got for you. Is good luck.
I'll try to find
stream
something.
It on? Oh yeah, okay. No, you're gonna have to. Ooh, multi-format. Special edition. No, it's still a disc. Damn. Yeah, you might have to. We didn't even get into the discussion of like the multiple canons, because there's Neon Genesis Evangelion, and then the end of Evangelion. That is one canon. There is Death and Rebirth, but that is just like an in-between module for Neon Genesis Evangelion into the end of Evangelion. Then there is Rebuild of Evangelion, and that's what I'm talking about, the films. And then there's the manga, and then there are the video games.
There's too many endings to actually discuss.
But I think, in my personal opinion, I think if you care about authorial intent, I personally believe that the rebuild of Evangelion, which is 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and then later 3.0 plus 1.0, I think that is the most direct from brain and refined version of Evangelion from Hideki Anno. Like I said, just because of the insane, just the insane things that happened during production of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I think like he's had time to brew on the story more. There are things that he wanted to originally include now in it. He's been able to develop his tastes and creates the best character, Marie Makaname, and all sorts of kind of stuff like that. So, yeah. Hopefully they 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and then eventually 3.0 plus 1.0 or 4.0, however you want to say it, do end up on Netflix. I think more people should watch them. Like I said, like they are the ways that I prefer to watch Evangelion personally. And yeah, that's kind of just my whole opinion wrapped up in a little nutshell. Essentially,
I hope that it becomes just easier access. If not, I would love to be able to actually like buy the original VHSs.
You can. Yeah. I think. Oh man, I don't know. A lot of people flex about that kind of stuff. I personally don't like.
It's not even about flexing. It's just it would be cool to have the actual physical copy of the original.
Yeah, I got a few omnibuses for the manga. The manga is released like volume 1 through 3, and then 4 through 5, or 4 through 6, and then 7 through 8, and then like it goes to like 12, and then end of Evangelion. Blah, 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 blah. So I have some of the manga. I plan on completing the collection sooner or later. Now that I've watched the original series, I feel like I can actually like really talk about the show and fully enjoy the show. And I don't know about you, but this is definitely like the X tier anime. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you try to compare anything to Evangelion.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know.
Other things compare itself to Evangelion. Evangelion doesn't compare itself to anything.
Exactly, right? It's hard for me not to say that like Evangelion is like one of my like it's impossible for me not to like this. Like kind of like how it's impossible for me not to like JoJo, because Evangelion, its DNA is in so many shows. I don't think Fully Cooley exists without Evangelion. There are so many Eva references. Literally, Hideki Anno voices a character in Fully Cooley. It's the little cat. So like I just don't know. Like, it's impossible for me not to love this show, even though it is so hard for me to watch at times, simply because like not like any emotional reason, just like because like it's a lot to watch, you know?
I wish I had something like
sure
meaningful to say after that.
That's fair. That's fair. You know, but like, do you put it in the X tier? Like, is it an X tier? Is it an S plus tier?
Absolutely.
Like
I said, I agree.
I completely understand.
It doesn't compare itself to anything.
You know, but the issue is like there are obvious issues with Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime series.
But those issues like serve to, again, like make our viewing of it more pleasurable, more creative, and just at the end of the day, like, flaws make things better, I believe.
Yeah.
And like that's why this show is so high up there. That's why Fully Cooley is so high up there.
It is. So also when you were watching End of Evangelion, they released Death and Rebuild in theaters. And then that's why you saw real people in a theater. They were actually watching Death and Rebirth, which, like I said, is like it encapsulates the tail end of it encapsulates the tail end of the anime and then the first third or so of the end of Evangelion. So I think the reason why they are publishing the first 10 minutes of the fourth film of 4.0 and the rebuilds is because I think they're going to use that footage at the end of the film in the same way.
Okay, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, so that's a little fun fact for you. But yeah, I believe that's what they're going to do, because honestly, plot for plot, from 1.0 to 3.0, it's about the same. There are some changes though. Spoiler alert for you, Gabe. Do you care? I don't think you care at all. But
I don't.
So by
this movie literally came out the year I was born.
That's fair.
There are no more spoilers.
So at the end of 3.0, the third impact does happen. There are murmurings of the fourth impact or fucking whatever. I don't remember. So within 3.0, it ends generally the same way. Shinji gets pulled from his Eva and then is plopped onto the ground. And the thing is that you remember how Asuka is like kind of catatonic in a way when they come back? And then she calls Shinji disgusting. And then the entire series ends right there. In 3.0, Asuka never actually gets into that catatonic state. She actually kind of turns into a fucking badass. She has a fucking eye patch and she wears a sick ass bomber jacket. And Asuka actually rips Shinji out of the plug suit, and she basically says like, "All right, fucking loser, we gotta save the world." And then the last shot is them walking off into the distance. And I cannot wait for the fourth film, dude. Cannot wait. Like I said, dude, I think the rebuilds. I just think the rebuilds are better than the series. I know that's going to hurt a lot of people's opinions, and I I totally agree. The original Neon Genesis Evangelion is very good in its own right, and it's very interesting. I legitimately believe that the rebuilds are like categorically better, for a lot of different reasons. Mainly, it's the first one that I watched. It's kind of
we can go and have that debate later on once I've seen it.
July 20th, 2020. Did I get your hopes up a little bit when I said July 20th? And you're like, oh shit, it's coming out in 2 weeks?
No. You didn't get my hopes up on July 20th? Because I didn't actually hear the date. The only part I heard was 2020.
Yeah, sorry. July 20th.
So the only thing I was thinking of before that was, it's going to be coming out soon. Nope. No, it's not. Next year. Oh shit, it is next year. Oh wait, holy crap.
Yeah, July 20th, 2020, next year.
Oh. That's close. That's gonna fly by in no time.
I know, dude. I am like counting down the days, honestly. I am so pumped for this film to come out. So hopefully
I need to watch all the first ones.
If this podcast lasts a year,
down.
I'd love to talk about this.
Super down. If nothing terrible happens and somehow we are still in communication.
Sure.
over the next year.
Yeah.
To have like a little viewing party of all the movies before the last one comes out.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm super pumped, dude. It's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be so sick. Also, I get to see my good blue octahedron boy again when I watch these films. All right. This is the end of the episode. This is the end of Trashchan, but not really. Dude, like I said, this show's amazing. Hopefully you guys enjoy whatever the edit of this episode turns out to be, because we are at like 2 hours. Gabe, any last final thoughts?
Don't call yourself a nihilist until you've read all of Nietzsche.
Hell yeah, dog. Just don't be a fan of pop nihilism.
That's true. Don't be a fan of pop nihilism.
Are we going to talk about what do we watch for next week, homie? I don't want to watch anything serious. I can't do another serious show again. I was
gonna say.
I think doing Fooly Cooly then Evangelion was a bit much for me. I need something chill. I did say that Evangelion, the choice for Evangelion was your choice. I don't know if it's my choice now, but I remember also kind of forcing Evangelion upon you. So your choice, but I do have some choices. Again. Choice. Do you have any ideas?
I was gonna say Agretzko, because that's easy to watch on Netflix. But at the same time, I also know that there's like, quote unquote, like deeper meanings or whatever.
No, not at all. It's not like it's not necessarily deeper meanings. It's just about why capitalism sucks.
Yeah. So like Agretzko would be my choice. Let me hear what you got to say.
Man, I think I'm like already almost done with Agretzko. Have you watched season 1 and season 2 yet?
I've seen part of season 1.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know if I feel like watching all of it. Although
Agretzko
is very good.
Fair enough.
I am down to talk about it. I'm down to talk about Agretzko and something else. It's kind of weird. Mainly just because like the episodes are only like fucking 15 minutes long.
Yeah, that's fair.
I kind of want to watch. I want to watch something old. I've been kind of wanting to watch Cowboy Bebop.
Ooh.
Either Cowboy Bebop.
That's taking on a lot of cult classics back to back.
Yeah, but like Cowboy Bebop. Well, I don't know. Maybe Cowboy Bebop is a bit much because it's about being an adult.
That's where we draw the line.
Yeah.
Existential crisis is fine. Growing up is fine.
Exactly.
But then being an adult is a no.
I'm trying to remember who the creator of these series are, because I was thinking between Cowboy Bebop, Masafumi Harada is the writer, or like basically the creator. So I was thinking either between Space Dandy, Cowboy Bebop, or Samurai Champloo. All written by the same guy.
I'm gonna let you choose this one. I will take the call on watching Evangelion because it's my first time watching it.
That's fair.
So I will let you have this pick. I will pick next time. I was caught very off guard with trying to decide what to watch next.
I know. That was my bad. But just, if you just have any idea whatsoever, it's fine. There's also another Netflix series called Seven Seeds that I'm relatively interested in.
Thank you. That's what it was.
Yeah. It looks kind of neat.
That's what I was. Thank God. I was like, it's on Netflix. I literally just saw it as I was scrolling.
Yeah. So Seven Seeds is about reestablishing Earth. It honestly sounds like Battlefield Earth. Shy Natsu awakens as a part of a group chosen to ensure the survival of humanity. Together, they have to survive on a changed Earth. So, it's like some sci-fi stuff, but it looks right.
I was going to say either that or we can just try and catch up. We can start watching some of the summer shows.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was really only going to watch Dr. Stone.
What about Demon Slayer?
I guess so. I was going to kind of wait until Demon Slayer was done and binge it, but I'll probably start watching some of that too.
Yeah, I think we're going to start watching that. I'm going to try to see what summer shows there are and are not available to me. But if not, Seven Seeds is my choice.
Okay.
But either way, I'm letting you decide what we will watch and talk about.
I'll get back to you soon about that. It's kind of between Seven Seeds, Space Dandy, and Samurai Champloo. I've already watched Samurai Champloo, but it's fun. It is a fun show to just chill out and watch. It's a lot like, I shouldn't say a lot. It's not the same as Cowboy Bebop, but you know how in like Samurai, like, you know how in Cowboy Bebop, there's like a very loose plot, really. It's just pretty like episodic, and like they just get into different weird adventures each episode.
Wait, sorry, I missed the first part. What was the show you're talking about?
So Cowboy Bebop is like very episodic, but there is a plot loosely connecting the episodes. You've seen Cowboy Bebop, I am assuming, probably incorrectly.
No.
Okay. I don't know if I want to throw Cowboy Bebop at you.
Oh, I've again, it's much like Evangelion.
Yeah.
I've had it basically spoiled through the roof from the number of YouTubers
so like,
and whatnot.
Yeah, kind of the thing though is like a lot of Cowboy Bebop, like, fuck, that was one thing I forgot to talk about. I might put it in the intro, but like I think a lot of the reason why it was so hard for me to watch Evangelion is that a lot of it was spoiled for me because either I had already, because I had already watched the movie, so I already knew what happened. And then also just because, I read a lot about it online and whatnot, right? So like when Rey dies, like that's got to be super impactful for if you don't realize that Rey is ordered in bulk, So
I think there was still I think for some people
like
there's still an impact of knowing what's going to happen and then being able to finally see it.
Possible, maybe.
But it's the impact is way less.
Maybe,
but there's got to be like some small part of you that goes, oh,
see,
crap, that's what it looked like. That's what all these people are referring to.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of the issue with Neon Genesis Evangelion is that like I already like know what's gonna happen, but I have to sit through the long pauses, and I understand that the long pauses are there for a reason, and I do like that the show takes its time just to show characters staring at each other because it really does make sense ultimately, and I do enjoy it. But then there's also the physical time that the Dale Hansen entity has to sit through these shows and just wanting to get to the end.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, so there is like an issue of that, but ultimately it's okay. I'm chilling. It's just kind of that thing. So that's why I really want to watch just a nice.
Wait, should we sync and stop recording?
Yeah, we might as well. We might as well do that. So all right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, sync.
Sync.